Said she stares at her shoes, helps her make it through the day, drinking through till the morning and wishing she'd moved away. She's working a job in a small town where her back's against the wall. I'm sorry to tell you, love, but that's no way to live at all. Gathering dust upon your shelf. You've been a while since you took me down. I'm starting to get the impression that you don't want me around, but I'm still standing in your doorway with a rose between my teeth. Just wish there was a rock that I could crawl on. See you on the way done, spectacle for your next breakdown. It's always been the same. I realized that you'll never change. You'll never change. The black cloud is following me everywhere I go. Think that I might tell you, but I guess you wouldn't want to know. Every step is a crack on the pavement, every look cuts to bone. And I wonder, would it be any different if I just stayed on my own? See you on the way done, spectacle for your next breakdown. It's always been the same. I realized that you'll never change. 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 You'll never So You'll Never Change. I wrote just before I turned 22, and it took me a wee while to write. I remember it took me a minute. You know, um, I think I had the tune, I had the sort of the general thrust of the words and the chorus and that, but it took me a while to get the lyrics right, and I almost had to go sort of word by word, line by line, and really perfect it, and really craft it, which I certainly hadn't really done at that time. A lot of the songs that I wrote in my sort of late teens, early 20s, it was all sort of just inspiration. And I mean, maybe sometimes songs would take a wee while to write, but I really didn't craft them in that way. I have done since, but that was kind of the first one that I remember really having to really craft to get right, because I had faith in it, and I sort of knew how good it could be. So I really had to work at that one. But I remember when I wrote it, and when I had it down and I knew it was good. I remember I played it around a few gigs. I was starting to gig again because I hadn't really done very much for about a year and a half. I went off and did the third year of a degree, and graduated then, left university at 21, and started doing wee open mics and started doing wee spots at gigs and stuff with bits and pieces, just songs that I had, because I had a set when I was like 19 that I played around a load of gigs in Derry and Belfast, and basically ditched all of them because I got sick of them. I didn't like them particularly. So when I left uni at 21, I kind of had to pull together whatever songs I had that I actually liked, either things that I'd written around about that time or maybe a year before. But I remember You'll Never Change was the one that sort of galvanized everything in a way. It sort of pulled everything together. And it was one that caught everybody's ear that sort of heard it around that time. And I remember doing a demo with Dan Atchison in his living room. He had a wee recording set up in his living room in Derry, and I remember I basically went and recorded my set at the time, which was about 7 songs or whatever it was, and I remember I put it up on SoundCloud. I think he put it up on SoundCloud first, actually, and then I made my own SoundCloud and put that up, and it seemed, people seemed to really get into that song, and a couple of others. And things were sort of starting to happen, it seemed. That's the way it felt. And I remember I did an Electric Mainline session with Radio Foil around that time, and I was doing a load of gigs, and things were sort of starting to happen. And I believe that it was really all down to You'll Never Change. I felt that song gave me a lot of confidence, which I didn't have a great deal of. I really didn't have really very much self-confidence at all. But that song, I felt gave me a bit of drive to do something, because I wanted to do something with the music, and I had the want to do it, but You'll Never Change gave me a bit of a kick up the arse to try and do something, and I sort of, through the sort of trials and tribulations of trying to make things happen, and things falling through and all that, I carried a couple of those songs with me, and You'll Never Change was definitely one of them. I always had it in the back pocket ready to go, and again, it's a song that people just seem to connect to in a way, in relation to my stuff. And
even though the song has evolved, and I'll put the demo up. I will put the initial demo up of that song just so you get to hear the way it was around the time I wrote it. And it's quite different, you know. I mean, it's, you know, nearly 9 years ago, but it was that song sort of grew and evolved, and things fell off and things developed, and the whole outro section sort of came just over the course of gigging it and gigging it and gigging it and gigging it, and the outro section would get longer and longer and wilder, and you know. But by the time myself and Shane Byrne came to record the first album, Romance and Melodrama, I knew that I wanted. I mean, for the previous few years, I knew that if I was gonna put a single out, I wanted it to be that, even though it's not necessarily like a classic pop song. It's not. I mean, it's, you know, and it's the way it is on the album. You know, it's 5.5 minutes or something, and the big payoff at the end, or the big sort of chorus payoff, the big bit that you hope will stick in people's heads, doesn't come until right at the end. Do you know what I mean? And so every sort of rule in the book of pop songs or singles, it's like, no way, you know, it's too folky, it's too kind of sad, and the big chorusy thing doesn't happen until right at the end of a 5.5 minute song. It's like, no way. But I knew that was, I felt so sort of determined for, if I was going to launch this album, if I was going to launch this set of songs with one song, I knew it needed to be that. And I'm still proud of it, and I think me and Shane, I think we got the most out of that song that we possibly could, and we took a bit of time recording it and arranging it. And I mean, with Romance and Melodrama in general, I didn't have a massively clear idea about the way I wanted the album to sound, or I didn't have like ideas about the overarching theme or the sort of way that I wanted the whole album to sound together, or ways to pull the songs together or whatever. But I knew the way I wanted You'll Never Change the sound. And again, we really worked to get the most out of that song that we could. And even though I had a clear idea, Shane was still able to come in with his own ideas and really elevate it. And I'm really, really happy with that one. I'm really chuffed. And I'm really glad that people are able to connect with it, even, you know, in the sort of rather limited scope of my music, or the, you know, the limited reach of my music at the minute. People are still able to connect with that song, and it works, and I'm really happy with it. It's one of a small handful of songs that I'm really super proud of writing, and I'm glad that we were able to get the most out of it that we could, and it's one that I can really say, you know, I think we did the best that we possibly could with that one. I'm really happy.